Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel today. My name is Lydia. I am the Fun Finance Queen, your money mentor online. I want to take some time to thank my new subscribers. I'm so appreciative of you, and I just want to take some time and say thank you for trusting me with your ear. Thank you for trusting me with your time. I will not let you down, and I'll be able to show you your road to financial freedom. All right, so today we're going to talk about 5 habits that keep you poor. Actually, it's more than 5 habits. So certain habits that keep you poor. This is so important, and I really want us all to pay attention to it because it is vital. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I want to point out is that 40% of habits that we actually do are completely mindless. These are things that we do without thinking, right? So I want us to begin to pay attention to the habits that make us not where we want to be financially, okay? So think before you spend, ladies and gentlemen, is the first thing I want to talk about. Okay, so the first habit that tends to keep people poor is by having a middleman in your finances. What do I mean by that? So if we spend credit and pay off debt as a lifestyle, that is a habit that will keep people poor. Why? Because you make your money, you put it in the bank, you take that money from the bank and you pay off all your debtors, right? But what would happen if you chose to not pay off the debtors, not have them at all, and rather cut out the middleman, save the money that you want to acquire assets or acquire whatever you want, and then pay them directly? It means basically that you would stop having to pay 24.9% as an interest rate on any of the credit debt and on any of the credit cards that you have. So guys, when you cut out that middleman, you save a bunch of money. If you don't, it keeps you poor. All right, the next thing that I wanted to touch on is, how do you define not having money? This is something that keeps a lot of people poor. Why? Think about it. I can think of people who only think they're broke if they've maxed out their credit cards. Well, you were broke before you maxed out the credit card. Okay, this is so important to pay attention to. What do you define as not having money? For some people who are extremely rich, having 100,000 in the bank is not having money. But we need to be realistic about what we consider to have zero money, okay? You don't have to be in debt to say you don't have money. If you don't have money, it's when you don't have cash that you can actually access today that is yours, not somebody else's. So pay attention to this, guys. It's so important for us to understand that we need to correctly define what it means to have no money and be accurate about that definition so we don't go into big bunches of debt that we don't need. Okay, the third thing that tends to keep people poor. This is not my favorite, and this one really upsets me because I've done a whole video on not doing this. So, paying yourself last. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, this annoys the heck out of me. So for that reason, I'm going to stick a video here that talks about paying yourself first. Take your time to watch it because, guys, this is so important. Even though I might be humorous about it, I want us to pay attention to it. If you pay yourself last, you're not prioritizing your financial well-being. It's like saying, okay, I'm going to give everything else away to everybody else, but I'm not going to give anything to myself after you've done all the hard work. Makes no sense. Take time. Learn to put your money aside first when your paycheck comes in. And then think about everybody else. And get used to living without that money that you're setting aside for you because it is for you. Okay? So don't pay yourself last. Make sure you always, always pay yourself first. You are number one. You are number one. Okay? You can't say, I'm going to take people out. And someone says, okay, Lydia, take 10 people out. And then we're going to go to a club together. I'm not much of a clubber, but I just thought I'd use that example. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I wouldn't forget myself. I wouldn't point to everyone else first. I'd start by saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how I'd calculate it. And that's how you need to think about spending your money. Number 1 comes to you. All right. Another habit that keeps people poor is when they let the bank tell them what they can afford. How crazy is that? The bank doesn't know how much you've saved. Of course they should, but they don't care about it. When the bank takes into consideration everything that you have, that you spend on, they can tell you, okay, you can afford this house, or you can afford this car, or you can afford this credit card. Your credit is a static picture that was taken at a certain time of your financial setting. Now, if you have changed your finances and the bank doesn't know that, they can't tell you what you can afford. The only person who can tell you what you can afford, my friends, is you. You make your own calculations. You find out how much you can juggle your money to make it last as long as it can. Only you can do that. Don't let the bank tell you what they think you can afford and go for that number. Why am I saying this? For example, if you want to buy a house and the bank says, oh, you can actually afford a $350,000 house. It doesn't mean you have to go buy a $350,000 house. Please look at something that is more affordable that you can actually juggle better. And in that case, decide, for example, to buy a $250,000 house if that is what you think your money will allow you to be comfortable with. So guys, let's not forget 2008 when the banks kept telling us, buy a mansion, buy a mansion. And in reality, we didn't make the calculations and so many people just didn't know how to manage those expenses. So you decide how much you can afford. Don't let the bank tell you. They can work as a guideline, but definitely you don't have to go for the max. All right, expensive hobbies. This is something that keeps people extremely poor. Consider shopping, right? If you go shopping and you don't have money, you're putting that on a credit card and you're buying something that you're not able to afford. So expensive hobbies like shopping or traveling or skiing or things like that, those are things we should really consider as to whether we can do them or how often we can do them. I'm not saying don't travel. I love traveling myself, but I make sure that before I go on a trip, I pay for everything up front. I don't want to go on a trip and come back and start paying for the trip afterwards. That's got to be a painful experience, right? So if you have expensive hobbies, I'm not saying don't do them. What I actually recommend rather is that you plan, prepare, and save up to enjoy those hobbies. So when you come back, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about paying off those debts, okay? Last but not least, the one thing that I think keeps so many people poor is not investing. Not investing. You're never too late to start investing, guys. I always tell people the best time to have invested was 10 years ago. The second best time to start investing is today. Don't let it pass you by. Find something to invest in. Make sure that your money is worth it, because if you leave it in a bank account, inflation is going to eat at it. But you take that money, put it into something that will grow. That is what I want for you. That's what I want for you guys. This is what I want for you to be able to do. So make sure that you're taking your savings, putting it towards something, and enjoying that for the future, okay? I hope that helped somebody. That was a hard video to put together because I think it makes people think. But I'm here to actually do that. I'm here to have these conversations that I hope will help you in the future to grow your financial nesting. Welcome to our Money Matters segment, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming. Today I want to talk about cost of living and how to manage in this cost of living crisis. So, ladies and gentlemen, so many of us are struggling at this time, struggling to make ends meet, struggling to pay that very expensive gas bill that went up a couple of years ago that hasn't gone down. So I want us to take time today and begin to think of a few things we could do to save money in our households. So, for example, one of the things we tend to do is we will manage the use of hot water during the summer. Realistically, we don't need to have the hot water on all throughout the summer, except when we're taking showers. So it's very easy to actually make a decision to leave your hot water at the lowest level, and then when you're ready to take a shower, you boost it up. How cool is that? You're only paying for what you use. You don't have to have it running right throughout the summer when you don't even need it. So guys, that's one thing I want to encourage us to do. This is a great way to save some money. And if you're on a set plan for your bills, this actually helps you so that you are at a low level of expenditure on that gas bill. So when the winter comes around, you've put aside some credit that you didn't even plan for. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate your time and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.